Jackson on the drive, kicks it out for Man. Man, three-pointer, bang! Oh, what a man!
Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12, good!
Here's Michael at the foul line, a shot on Elo, good!
The Bulls win! They win it!
Now there's a steal by Murray, underneath the DJ, going up over Bell, ball away, yes! Yes! At the buzzer, he does it! Was there ever a doubt? A Smith screen, Posey will defend.
Oh!
LeBron James with no regard for human life.
It's a physical game. Oh, man, oh, my. A monster jam by Blake Griffin.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game live here on Dime Dropper for the 2022-23 season. For this one, the NBA Finals Game 3 between the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets in Miami. But we are not in Miami. We are live from Los Angeles, as always. Super chats turned on. If you want to drop $1 a dime, you can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Dime Dropper Pod. And, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel for all things NBA, LA sports, and NBA history. Thank you for being here. For the YouTube people, for the Twitter people, I see, 6 people on Twitter. So I'm going to do you a little favor. You guys got to come to YouTube. There's a link underneath the tweet that you're on. Please click on it right about now, because I am going to delete the video on Twitter because I'm trying to get people to come to the YouTube, man. It's where I make my money. So here we go. Bye-bye, Twitter. Get into the YouTube. All right, let's get right into it. The Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets, right now, to me, the pressure was on the Denver Nuggets because I really think they're the better team. I said Nuggets in 6 before the series. They have the best player. They've been better throughout the regular season. They have more size. I just think they have a better supporting cast. I wouldn't say a better number 2 because Bam Adebayo is better throughout the course of a season and his defensive impact is unbelievable. But you get the point. The Nuggets are the better team to me, just looking at it on paper and the way that they've played to this point of the season. I was looking at this game from a Nuggets fan's perspective. So I was really looking closely at the way they were being attacked defensively and what they were doing offensively. And one thing that I saw right away from Miami is that they were trying to get Jamal Murray in the action a lot on defense, especially switched on to Jimmy Butler. And the Nuggets were switching 1 through 4. Jokic was in that drop coverage that we've seen him in throughout the finals so far. Not much change in the pick and roll stuff from the Nuggets at all. 1 through 4 switch, Jokic drops, sometimes in that high drop versus Lowry, but for the most part, he's dropping and conceding the mid-range to these Heat players. But Jamal Murray was getting attacked a little bit, and Jimmy got off to a pretty good start. But Jamal Murray also got off to a good start offensively. Again, he and Jokic in that pick and roll and off dribble handoff, so tricky, so hard to guard. You want to stay attached to Jokic. Then Murray gets in the middle of the floor, he can hit the mid-range going both ways, has the floater, has the 3, and he doesn't neglect any part of the floor, which I always say. And that makes him so hard to stop in that pick and roll. And then not only just the pick and roll, the pick and pop mainly, where Jokic gets the ball at the 3-point line where he's shooting so well from in these playoffs. And when they close out hard, he goes downhill, and now he can make a decision where they can go up. You're gonna have to stop a 7-footer going downhill, and he's the best passer in the game. So it's so hard to guard those actions. So hard. Jimmy Butler with 8 points in the first quarter for Miami. Jamal Murray with 8 points in the first quarter. Jokic, it wasn't just on pick and pop, though, and pick and roll. He was also getting the ball in the post and being aggressive, even had a left-handed jump hook at one point in the game that I was happy to see, and just being assertive in scoring mode. But yeah, the main takeaway for me in that first quarter was that the Heat were really trying to go at Jamal Murray. And as the quarter went on, it seemed like he got a little bit more comfortable. Also, a random cameo for Reggie Jackson in that first quarter. Reggie. Say it with me.
Jackson on the drive, kicks it out. Jackson on the drive, kicks.
The guy, Reggie, just good to see him touch an NBA Finals court. I think that's his first time doing so. So very happy for him. But 24-24 after one. Again, didn't feel any type of way if I were a Nuggets fan. I thought they were right there. And the second quarter, they started to build a little bit of a separation, but not too much. The first half was very neck and neck. 29-24 in favor of the Denver Nuggets in the second quarter. And I'll tell you some players for the Heat, two of the only players that really gave them something outside of Jimmy and Bam, Kyle Lowry and Caleb Martin. In that second quarter, Caleb Martin hit 2 3 balls, got to the basket, had 8 points in the quarter, and Kyle Lowry with some solid minutes on defense, active hands like he's had all postseason long. And there was one shot he hit, a little turnaround from the foul line that we've seen him hit throughout the years. So a nice bit of help there for the Miami Heat from their bench. But it was an 8-0 run by Denver. By the way, great crowd tonight in Miami, I want to say. But an 8-0 run by Denver when the Heat were up 37-33. And it started with Jamal Murray threes. And something I have to say about Jamal Murray, he is unbelievable at hitting these massive shots to stop momentum on the road or even at home. Like every single time it feels like a team is about to pull away, or maybe the other team is about to pull away or make a big run. He hits the shot that ends that run or silences the crowd, and those momentum. Like when we talk about clutch, right? Everybody always puts out these bullshit stats like this field goal percentage in the last 2 minutes, this, in the fourth quarter. Those shots, even if they're throughout a game, those are clutch because they're tough shots with momentum, with pressure. And those are the kind of shots you just don't see in the stat sheet. When I say 2 points is not worth 2 points or 3 points is not worth 3 points, different shots carry different weight in terms of how they shift momentum in a game. And by the way, this is live from Los Angeles. Smiles for Cupcakes. Thanks for asking, but we are live. 10:50 p.m. here, local time in LA. But 8-0 run by Denver, led by Jamal Murray in that pick and roll. Jokic, as I said earlier, remained in drop coverage against Jimmy and Lowry. And that mid-range, it was there for Jimmy. Made some, missed some, but I will say in the second quarter, or should I say in the first half, he was aggressive. And you like to see that. And overall, let me see how many shots he took overall. By the way, my computer's I'm getting it sent out to my man over. That's a subscriber to Locked On Clippers. Said he would refurbish it for free. So shout out to them, man. I will give them the shout out of their actual names once they bring it back. And hopefully it's good and my computer's not a fucking furnace every single episode. But let's see how many shots Jimmy took. 24 shots. He took less in the second half, but he was aggressive. You like that. You're number one player taking 24 shots. I'm cool with that. By the way, I don't want to act like the Denver Nuggets supporting cast was doing a bunch of great things in the first half. There was not, they were defending well. I'm going to say that. But offensively, it was all Murray and Jokic in that pick and roll, dribble handoffs. And man, everything starts from Jokic. Getting the ball in the middle of the floor, all the actions being run through him. But 40 of the first 45 Nuggets points, 40 of them were either scored or assisted by Murray and Jokic. That was on the screen with 2:49 left in the first half. So that tells you how much they were running through them and how hard it is to stop. I've been saying it's the best pick and pop, pick and roll tandem in the league. It's so hard to guard, and I've listed why it's so hard to guard so many times on this show. So I think you guys get the point at this point. The Nuggets' other starters besides Murray and Jokic only had 6 points at the half. And I do want to say, just looking at this from a neutral perspective, Miami got a shitty whistle tonight, especially in the first half. A really bad whistle. Gabe Vincent was not really able to get any rhythm in this game. He had a third foul with a couple of minutes left in the first half, right when he came back into the game. And it was a pretty soft call compared to some other things they were letting go. Just kind of him running in to, I forget who it was, but it was a rough whistle. As far as the centers, Jokic and Bam both had double-doubles by halftime. They were both doing a really good job on the glass. Bam was, again, being aggressive, taking that shot in the in-between game because with Jokic in drop coverage, you do concede that in-between shot, and that, just like Anthony Davis, when it comes to Bam Adebayo, he's inconsistent on. And finally tonight, we saw him not really hit that shot. His first 2 games in the series, he was pretty phenomenal in terms of that in-between game, being aggressive, taking that shot, that push shot, that mid-range with assertiveness, with confidence. But tonight, He took it still. I think he was a little more hesitant as the game went on, where Jokic would be sagging off feet away when he had the ball at 18 feet, looking for dribble handoffs, but there were times where he could just go downhill. Let's see how many shots Bam took. 21. So he was aggressive. I mean, he was aggressive. He got over 20 points, which, again, I said that's his mark. He has to average over 20. He has done that so far, but it wasn't efficient the way he shot tonight. I'll get into that more later, but Joker had 14, 12, and 7 at the half. 14 points, 12 rebounds, 7 dimes. Bam, 13 and 10. And at the end of the first half, you start to see something that would be a change going forward for Miami defensively. They started blitzing Murray on the pick and rolls with Bam. And that allowed the Nuggets to get into 4-on-3 situations. But a lot of times, I will say the Heat did a good job of trying to take Jokic away on that next pass. Because when you get Jokic the ball there in a 4-on-3, you're fucking cooked. But at times, he was able to find, this is Jamal Murray I'm talking about, he was able to find other guys on the wings, guys like Jeff Green, guys like Christian Brown, guys like Bruce Brown, guys like Aaron Gordon. And it started to show more in the second half. But Butler, solid first half. The Heat only down 5 at the half. If I'm the Nuggets, and now, again, I repeat it for the third time, I was watching this game from a Nuggets fan's perspective because I thought that it would be more embarrassing if they went down 2-1. I shouldn't even use the word embarrassing because both these teams are great. So not embarrassing, but I should say I would be more surprised if the Nuggets went down 2-1. They haven't trailed in any series thus far in these playoffs. And in the third quarter, you start to see their quality show. They're just the better team to me. Like, not even to disrespect Miami, but it's just such great pieces around each other. You got the best player in the world to me, the Joker. You've got Jamal Murray, who has been playing at an all-star, damn near superstar level in these playoffs. And then you have a perfect 3-and-D slasher guy, KCP, who moves without the ball. He was a little quiet again tonight. But then to go along with those three, you have two guys, 6'9" and 6'10". I mean, in the third quarter, I noticed that the Miami Heat, instead of trying to go at Murray and Jokic so much, they were trying to go at MPJ in the pick and roll. And they got a couple of good possessions in the beginning of it. But after that, you started to see it's pretty hard to attack 6'11" with mobility. And when I say mobility, I just mean a lot of rear view contests fighting over screens, where MPJ, I thought, did a pretty solid job. And for the record, Denver's defense won them this game tonight, and Murray and Jokic were tried a lot on defense, and they stood up to the task. Jamal Murray was playing with such high effort. Yeah, sometimes he's going to get scored on. Sometimes he's going to get scored on even when he plays good D. Sometimes you're going to have to send extra help when he's guarding a guy like Jimmy Butler. But overall, I thought Jamal Murray played with so much effort defensively. He was fighting and chasing over screens. He was being physical on the ball. I mean, that's what you want to see. It's not about guys that aren't great at defense. You need to be a willing defender. If you are willing, you put in effort, you can be decent. And that's exactly what you're seeing. And honestly, maybe that's being harsh. You let me know in the comments. Has he been good in your opinion? I think at the very worst, you can say he's been decent. He has helped. He's obviously the guy you want to attack. When you look at that team, it's either Jokic or Murray that you want to attack. And given that they're doing all these things offensively, I mentioned that stat a couple minutes ago of how much they were contributing to the points, whether scoring or assisting, and they're being put in the action so much on defense and standing up to the task. It just shows the greatness of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic as a duo right now. It really does. And having Aaron Gordon in the dunker spot, who's such a solid finisher and a great lob threat and physical as fuck, I mean, it's a huge, huge advantage. And in the beginning of that third quarter, you started to see Aaron Gordon in that dunker spot feeding off the extra attention that Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic just get. They went up 59-48, which led to a timeout for Miami. And by the way, as for Miami, they weren't switching everybody. Strus was hedging and recovering. He was not switching on to Jamal Murray. Vincent was, though. And I will say the Nuggets started feeding, and I'm still surprised they haven't busted out zone yet at this point. They keep giving the ball to Nikola Jokic in the middle of the floor. And listen, Bam got a couple of stops, but he can't do much. He's undersized compared to Jokic. Then when he gets anyone else, whether it be Love or Vincent or anyone, Strus, Martin, he goes right up over the top. And I don't know if I've ever seen a player get such friendly rolls so often. It's not coincidence. He's got the touch of a feather, man. at that size. I mean, I have to say, I don't use these words often, man. I really don't. But it is a pleasure, an honor to watch this guy play the game. It really is. And I've been early on the Jokic train, bandwagon. 2016, 17, when he gave us the business. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Like, this guy will be an all-star soon. Mark my words. I've been high on him since the beginning. I'm not trying to say I was on him when he was, drafted or all that. But this guy, man, I mean, listen, there's a reason why I don't say he's the best passing big of all time on my show, because I have not seen them all play. He probably is, but I'm not just going to assume because I'm fucking 24. So I'm not ignorant to the history of the game and just going to take someone's word for it. I don't let anybody make their opinions for me. I don't care how, I have my own lens. I will watch and I will tell you. But from what I've seen so far, yes. I mean, he is incredible. I don't think any center has probably been used, their passing used in this way, because back in the day, you wouldn't have your center initiating so much from the top of the key. Even though I will say, if you watch old Celtics games from the 60s, Bill Russell's initiating a lot from the foul line, but he has less scoring gravity, as they say, But in the dribble handoff on a roll, he was really good at that, watching cutters and all that. And that's one thing about the Denver Nuggets offense. Everyone moves. They have so many back cuts, flare screens happening, double drag, stagger, so much going on. And when you have Jokic as the trigger man and all these shooters around him with all the space, so many passing angles get opened up and he can already see over the defense. It just becomes him carving you apart. It's insane. And it's so fun to watch for me. Not when your team's playing against it, though, I can tell you that. But Jokic in the middle of the floor, those 10-footers, those 12-footers that we say AD and Bam are inconsistent on, he is automatic on. Automatic. It's crazy. You can have two bodies around him. He'll still put it up. He's 7 feet tall. I mean, you're fucked. So I just want to address something, too. When you put two guys on 7-footers, when they're deep enough in the paint and they have good enough touch, whether they're strong or they're finesse big, it's all about the work you do off the ball before you get it. And that's where the Gen Z bots that have never seen good big men in their lives don't get it. That's why it's great that you get to watch someone like Jokic, who can't jump over a fucking stool, dominate the more athletic, this NBA, that these high flyers and this guy can jump from the free throw line on the 12th man, all this bullshit kids say. He kills you with fundamentals and skill. And just IQ. You don't need to be the most athletic guy in the world to be great at basketball. You definitely need to have some sort of size or athleticism, absolutely. But all the dudes in the NBA have always been an average of 6'5" or above. So I always seem to mention this, and it's not to take away from the modern player. It's because I need to be the one, because everyone shits on the past and lies, that needs to speak about how great the players were, because eventually all these motherfuckers are sadly going to pass away and no one's going to fucking talk about them and disregard their contributions to the game. The NBA has already stripped 3,000 plus games off YouTube and has put a bunch of games in a fucking vault in New Jersey that none of us can watch. You think that's growing the history of the game and having more respect for the people that paved the way? I had to donate money to Gus Williams's, whatever foundation was supporting him, because he's not doing well right now. He doesn't even have enough money to pay for his own medical health. He was a champion, a starter on one of the best backcourts in the history of the game. Do you guys even know who Gus Williams is? That's a problem. That's an issue to me. So that's why this summer we're going to get in our history bag. But the point I tried to make about Jokic is he fucking cooks with fundamentals, IQ, and outrageous skill. He destroys. So when people say things like, and I'm not saying my followers or subscribers say, like, Kareem wouldn't be as good, all this stuff, or he wouldn't be great, and the skyhook would have trouble getting off. Dude, he's 7'2" with a damn near 8-foot wingspan. You can throw two defenders on him. I can promise you, when you get the ball to Kareem 12 feet away on the baseline and he's turning over that left shoulder for the skyhook, you are just going to pray he misses. So it's the same with Jokic when he catches the ball 8 feet away from the basket. You can send that help. It's too late at that point. When he catches it there and he gets it doesn't matter if you get a contest in. Of course it does. But sometimes you don't see. He's 7 feet tall. He's going to see over it. And he was just cooking in that way. And Aaron Gordon also started to get way more aggressive against smaller guys. deep catches around the basket, outside the restricted area, and they were crashing the offensive boards. I remember in paint points, they had like a 20-plus point advantage. I'll tell you in a second what it finished out as, but they were dominating on the inside. You could just see the size, just like game one of the Denver Nuggets taking over. And Bam, by the way, was dropping against KCP. One time he got burned. Nuggets went up 18. And what's it called? We're up 18, timeout Miami. And that's when I knew that the Nuggets were going to pull away. And by the way, Jokic, 12 points in the third quarter. Nuggets up 14 after 3. And the Heat's offense, I mean, it just cooled down massively. Bam went cold. Jimmy Butler, he was scoring here and there, but nobody else was really coming through points-wise in that second half. And then in the fourth quarter, Christian Brown. What a game for him. He was absolutely everywhere. In the passing lanes on defense, chasing Duncan Robinson relentlessly over screens, rear view contests, getting out in transition and finishing, and the cutting was amazing. There was even one play, he got a steal in the passing lane, interception, and threw it down with authority. Then on the next play, he went into the chest of Jimmy Butler and like actually moved him backwards and scored. That was shocking. That kid, I've said it many times throughout these playoffs and all my Denver recaps, that kid has crazy confidence. Like, he's a player. He really is a player, and he guards, and that's what matters. And the Heat started missing everything early in the fourth. Jokic's drop coverage defense, not too bad. Murray's defense second half, much better, as I said. Jokic was strong, would contest. And I'll tell you this, the rear view contest and the point of attack defense from Denver, the Bruce Browns, the KCPs, the Aaron Gordons, even Jamal Murray later in that game, they do such a good job of not making Jokic have to step up where he has to guard two guys at once. The only reason why Jokic does not get abused is because he doesn't have to play two at once. It's not like AD or Bam or Jaren Jackson or even a Escar Gobert, who can make up the ground at showing and recovering on two guys. There are some times right around the basket where Jokic can do a decent job of that because he has active hands and he, stays strong with his body. That's one thing he does well. He really knows how to get the most out of his size. But he doesn't have that. The offensive players don't have that much space of playing against Denver right now because the Bruce Browns, the KCPs, the Jamal Murrays, even the Aaron Gordons and the MPJs, they are recovering really well in those rear view contests so Jokic can stay further down and still play with the offense in front of him. You know what I'm saying? Where he's not retreating or anything like that. So that's one thing. The point of attack defense has been really good for Denver, and Christian Brown is absolutely part of that. Vincent, I thought when he was in, played good defense when he was in, but he wasn't in enough. He was taken out of rhythm by the foul trouble. And by the way, Miami made a little run, 7-0 run. But again, guess who silenced the crowd? Jamal Murray. And that would be that. The Denver Nuggets ran away with it in a commanding victory, kind of like game one, 109-94. They led by as many as 21 points. The Heat only led by as many as 5. The Heat only shot 37% from the field, and they got 12 more shot attempts. The Nuggets shot 51%. So Nuggets shot well, Heat shot poorly. Is that related to the defense as well? Absolutely. The Nuggets offense is just that much better and that much harder to guard for the variety of reasons that I've listed throughout the episode. Having the best player, shooters around him, size around him, and a very creative offense. Nuggets only shot 18 threes and only made 5. So they only shot 28% from 3. So again, expect them to shoot better. They still haven't had a game in this series, I don't think, where they've shot over 40% from 3. And you've got to think that that's something that the Heat are trying to take away. And by the way, I'm so happy I remembered. The Heat actually did go zone late in the third quarter and fourth quarter. And honestly, they made a little bit of a run at it. The one thing I'll say for the Heat, I'm surprised they didn't go zone more. But my guess is they wanted to spring it on them in the fourth quarter just like they did in game 2. And they wanted to stick to that formula. But they're going to have to use it more because I think it at least makes them get tougher looks. It takes away the Murray-Jokic pick and roll. And that's so hard to guard. The Heat shot 11 for 35 from 3. So they got 17 more threes up. And the math, they got 6 more threes, but it didn't math. 31.4% from deep for Miami. They got a lot of good looks they didn't make. Free throws. The Nuggets got 8 more of them. It honestly felt like more. with the way the game was being called. Miami shot 15 for 19 from the line, 79%. Nuggets shot 22 for 27 from the line, 81.5%. But this statistic is going to kill you. 58 rebounds for the Nuggets, 33 for the Heat. What does my man Pat Riley love to say? No rebounds, no rings. 25 more rebounds? That's insane. And the Heat still shot 12 more shots. That's crazy. Wow. Here's why. Denver, 14 turnovers. Miami only 4. So they took care of the ball so much better, got the 12 more shots up, and still lost by 15 points in a blowout. As for the points in the paint, 60 for Denver, 34 for Miami. Helps when your best player is 7 feet tall, but it also helps when Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic are so hard to guard in the pick and roll because Jamal Murray's in-between game makes you have to make really tough decisions. And, of course, Jokic's ability on the roll and his passing and the cutting of Denver. But let's get into the lines for the Miami Heat. No Haywood Highsmith tonight till garbage time. That's surprising to me. I think they should play him more. Duncan Robinson, 14 minutes, 9 points, 3 for 6 from the field. All those shots were threes. I'm not going to lie to you. Duncan Robinson felt pretty quiet to me. Kyle Lowry, thought he played pretty well. He's had a pretty good series so far. 9 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists on 4 for 8 shooting. 1 for 4 from 3, though, in 30 minutes of play. Cody Zeller, 6 minutes, a donut. Didn't even get a shot off. He was actually a +4, but I thought he didn't really do anything. Didn't play in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. And then Caleb Martin, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. So I thought he was decent, but the fact that in the first half he was playing so well and then he kind of disappeared in the second, they're going to need a little bit more from these other guys. Max Strus, he had a stinker. He had a bounce back in game 2, but game 1 and 3 have been a stinker for him. 3 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. His assist numbers have been pretty good. On those dribble handoffs, he's made some good reads, but 1 for 7 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Gabe Vincent, he was taken out of rhythm with his fouls. 7 points on 2 for 10 shooting, 1 for 6 from deep. Rough night for him shooting the ball. Kevin Love only played 16 minutes, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 for 5 from the field. All those shots were threes. So Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler scored 50 points. The rest of the team scored 44 points. And Gabe Vincent and Max Strus shot a combined 3 for 17. That is pretty rough. You need more from the other guys. But let's look at Bam and Jimmy, right? Bam, 22 points, 17 rebounds, played really good defense too. 3 assists, 1 block, but he didn't shoot well enough, and he got a lot of good looks. 7 for 21 from the field. 33%. And look, if Bam is going to shoot at 8 for 10 from the line, so you'll take that. But if Bam is going to shoot poorly and miss those easy shots, he's still got enough points to me, but you're going to need contributions from other guys. You're going to need Gabe Vincent to make shots or Max Strus to make shots. Caleb Martin to score more points in 2 halves. Because Bam is, I don't think he's going to all of a sudden just play great in every single game. I think he still played decently in this one. But 7 for 21 is just rough. You don't really have much room for error against teams like this. Jimmy Butler, I thought he played pretty well. 28 points, 11 for 24 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 5 for 6 from the foul line. 4 assists, I already said. 11 for 24, a little under 50%. It's not bad. I'm taking the 28 points. I think he needs to average 30 plus, but 2 more points wouldn't have made a difference. The problem is Jimmy Butler is no longer the best player in the series, and he's performed like the best player in the series in all 3 of them so far. He's not in this one, and that makes a big difference. It really does, especially when the Nuggets have the better supporting cast. So if you're the Heat, I'd say you need to go zone more. I would play Highsmith more. Maybe, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you like my cousin said in the last episode, you may need Tyler Hero because he can punish Jokic in drop coverage potentially. But again, the point of attack defense from Denver looks really good. And now it's a must win for Miami. So I am going to be looking at that game more from a Heat's fan perspective. But you're going to need a better shooting night from Bam as well. Defense, I don't really know what to say. As I said, zone more because, what can you do about Jokic? You can't. Anyway, speaking of those guys, Jeff Green, 17 minutes, 4 points, 2 for 2 from the field, did his job. He was a -1, though. Reggie Jackson, 1 minute, shot at the end of the quarter, missed. Bruce Brown, 5 points, 2 rebounds, but a couple of steals, I remember. 3 blocks, there you go. Active defensively. Even though he was 1 for 5, he was still active. And that's why you need guys like Bruce Brown, guys that even when their shot's not falling, they're still going to find ways to contribute. Christian Brown, what a game from him. 15 points, 4 rebounds. How about an assist and a steal to go along with that? 15 points on 7 for 8 shooting in 19 minutes. Talk about making the most of those. Amazing performance by him. Both ends of the floor, great cutting, great finishing, great physicality, confident player. And as for the starters who played 21 minutes or more, all 5 of them, MPJ only 21 minutes. And again, he really hasn't gotten going. And his defense has not been that great so far in this series, I've noticed. He can't let his missed shots affect him defensively. And he tried to get more shots inside the arc tonight. 5 2-point attempts, 2 threes, 2 points, 7 rebounds, though, on 1 for 7 shooting and 0 for 2 from deep and no free throw attempts. I remember him shooting a mid-range. It was a decent look, missed. MPJ, I feel like he's due for a big game, but he needs to keep himself in the game by being engaged defensively, even when he's not hitting those shots. And he's got to find ways to get easier shots than just threes all the time. But I have a feeling he'll still get good looks playing with Jokic and Murray, and he'll get some shots to fall. KCP, by the way, thank you for the super chat, June 28th, July. I appreciate every single penny. Says thanks for the recap. Thank you for joining. But KCP, another game a little slow for him. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 1 for 4 from the field, and 0 for 3 from deep in 28 minutes. But I thought defensively, when called upon, he was still good. And then Aaron Gordon, really solid game from him. He's had a great series and just a great playoffs. A double-double to go along with 5 assists for Gordon. 11, 10, and 5 on 50% shooting, 5 for 10. I mean, he continues to be phenomenal. They obviously try to get him switched off of Jimmy Butler as much as they can, Miami, but him in the dunker spot, his size, taking advantage of mismatches. Because again, when Love's not in the game, Miami has to go with either Jimmy or Caleb Martin as their second biggest guy, and they can't mess with Aaron Gordon from a strength perspective. And AG has done a really good job of taking advantage of that. And then the stars. You know, I mentioned Miami getting most of their points from their duo. It's the same for the Nuggets. 66 points for them combined, only 43 for the rest of the team. Jamal Murray, a triple-double. Oh my, what the fuck? Both of them got triple-doubles? I didn't even know this until I just checked it right now. Oh my God. That's insane. 34, 10, and 10. I mean, Jamal Murray was making some good passes, but it didn't feel like he had 10 assists. 34, 10, and 10. 12 for 22 from the field, 3 for 6 from deep, 7 for 8 from the line. For Jokic, the first player to have a 30, 20, 10 assist game in the playoffs. 32 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists, and 2 blocks on 12 for 21 shooting, only 2 3-point attempts. He made 1 of them, 7 for 8 from the line. Are you kidding me with these guys? Are you kidding me? I don't know what else there is to say. Consistency is the most impressive part. Every single game they're doing it. Even Jamal Murray, and that's one of his biggest, people's biggest criticism of him is that he's inconsistent. But in these playoffs, he's been very consistent. Even when his 3 ball's not falling, he gets in the in-between game. He gets to the elbow. He has spots. And Jokic in the middle of the floor, I mean, there's so many things you can run through him with him in the middle of the floor. He can isolate there. He can hit guys on back cuts. He can get into dribble handoffs. I mean, it's ridiculous. The endless possibilities. And the amazing thing is everyone knows to move, so it becomes that much harder to guard. Because you get a sliver of space, he'll find you on those bounce passes or cross-court passes. I mean, what a player. And we're seeing an all-time great playoff run right now. And they're just 2 games away from their first title in franchise history. And the way Jamal Murray has played and the way both of them have stepped up defensively, it is a sight to see, and everything starts from them. Michael Malone doing a great job. Denver up 2-1. Nothing more for me to say. But that's it for me tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know what you thought of the recap. Now to the live subscribers waiting patiently in the chat. Super chats are turned on if you want to jump $1 or a dime. Peace. Let's check it out. Showtime Nick says first like. Said Jokic only took 2 threes the whole game. See how using your side to the basket still matters, Gen Zs? Called it. Did you know when Jokic was a teenager, he actually couldn't even do a push-up? As a kid, he drank a gallon of Coke every day. That's insane. So the best player in the world should have been Andrew Wiggins right now, but he didn't want it enough. Wow. Harsh criticism at Showtime, Nick. Says Jokic worked his ass off to be the best player that he is now to overcome his physical limitations. June 28th, July says 2 triple-doubles in the books. Robert Paulson says Jokic just needs one teammate to show up offensively. I thought of you when he came on. Interesting. Smiles for Cupcake says, is this live or a replay? Robert says 30-point, 20 rebound games have been done by 3 players these playoffs. It hadn't been done before since 05-06. Stats, man. June 20th, July says live. Smile says, thank you. Woke up just in time. I love your recaps. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Showtime says, if you can type in the chat, it's live. That's not necessarily true. Fabian and them will replay shit and make it live so you can comment still. June 28th, July says, did Bam score his 20? He did. Phoenix plays, he says, pain. I feel pain. Who cares about Bam being undersized? Jokic is making that over someone 8 foot. 8 foot's a stretch. Showtime Nick says, I was big on the Jokic trade in 2017 too. I robbed someone in a fantasy basketball trade that year by getting him. All I gave up was a declining Zach Randolph to get Jokic that year. I think I also got Marvin Williams with the Jokic, but Jokic was enough to make it a robbery. Nice one. Robert Paulson, I think he might be, as far as superstars go, I think there might be more peripheral centers who are great passers. Can think of a couple, but I won't name them here. Smile says, thank you, Showtime. I'm slow motion mentally right now. I fell asleep early and woke up feeling delirious. Oof. Spitting facts, he says. Smiles with the brain. The math doesn't math, though. 2s are greater than 3s. What are you talking about? June 28th, July says, is this the return of the bigs? I've heard this somewhere. Well, I think with Jokic winning a championship as a big and breaking the nobody can win as a big anymore, I think it might get more bigs interested in playing inside out again, not just outside in. Jokic is inside out, not outside in. But initiating a lot, he can be both. Phoenix says it's still a wings league. I agree with that. But bigs, I think, will feel like they can come back. And we might see centers be the best players on teams in the future. No rebounds, no rings. A rebound is like a turnover. You mean letting up an offensive rebound. Nuggets had many turnovers, but made up for it with rebounds. That's right. Showtime Nick says, Aaron Gordon is such a great complimentary player for Jokic for how he knows where to be at all times. I don't think it's a harsh criticism of Wiggins because it was in his pre-draft scouting report that he doesn't have a great work ethic, and Jimmy Butler called it out while he was in Minnesota. Fair. Ace Boogie says, safe to say Jokic is the best player in the league. I agree. Healthy Kawhi or Jokic? Stop. It's Jokic. Help the Clippers get that 3rd pick for PG-13. I'd be a happy individual. Are you a Clipper fan or are you a Laker fan? Showtime Nick says, Jabari Parker was a different story because he was injury prone. He also didn't learn how to land properly until it was too late, much like Derrick Rose. Fair. How does Jokic compare to Magic as a passer? I mean, they're both great. I think they both have the fact they can see over the defense. I think they're good in transition and can make damn near every type of pass. I think maybe you can say, Jokic, you've seen more different passes from him. I don't know about that. No, I don't know about that. Magic in transition is just a different level entirely. I wouldn't say he's better than Magic. Magic, every time down the court, it feels like he's making a great pass. HNIC says 2 30-point triple doubles in the same game by teammates. Probably will never see anything like that again for a long time. We'll see about that. Love the content, bro. Thank you so much. Ace Boogie says Jamal Murray still gets a lot of disrespect. You ain't wrong. All right, guys, that's it for me tonight. Thanks so much for joining. Please comment on the video right now. I see 13 people in here, so I should get at least 6 of you commenting, please. Should be all 13, but you guys always, don't do it for me. But anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. Peace out, and I'll catch you Friday night, maybe.